Hi friends, welcome back. So it's a bit of a gloomy day out today, so I thought I would just make a really simple kind of sit down and chat video. I wanted to talk about some of the plants that I have not had the greatest luck with. I think it's very easy to look at people who have a bunch of houseplants and just assume that they have this wonderful green thumb, and that it's very easy to judge yourself and think that you don't have the same amount of skill as these other people do, when in reality everyone struggles with certain types of plants at different times. Each new plant is a new learning experience, and there have been quite a few plants in my past that I have had to learn from. Some I've had to learn to give a little more attention to, and other plants I've had to learn to give a little bit less attention to. So I just thought that we would sit down and I would talk to you guys about some of these plants. So I'm going to be reading off my laptop here the names of the plants, and I'm also going to insert a picture to the side of the plant in case you don't recognize the botanical name or the common name, but you might recognize the plant. So the first plant I wanted to talk about is begonias. And begonias, specifically the one that I've had in the past, is the Begonia maculata, which is a really common begonia. Most people have seen them. I see them all the time at Lowe's and other places like that. And begonia are more tropical plants, I'd say. And they can be very finicky if you don't know the care for them. Honestly, I had mine. I got it from Lowe's and it was doing really well. It seemed to be acclimating well, and then all of a sudden one day it just started dropping leaves, and it just kept dropping leaves until eventually it was just a stick and nothing else. And I was very confused about it because I didn't think that I was doing anything wrong. I had it in good light. I watered it plenty. I'm still honestly not sure to this day what I did wrong, but I did semi-recently get another begonia after a while of being scared to try them again, and it seems to be doing okay. I have learned that begonia require a bit more water than I'm used to having to give to my plants, so that's something I've been cautious about. And they also tend to not like a lot of direct sunlight on their leaves. Okay, the next plant I wanted to talk about is called the Pachira aquatica, also known as the money tree. I received this plant as a graduation gift from a good friend of mine, and I was really excited about it. It was a fairly decent size. I think what ended up happening to this plant is that I overwatered it, because I assumed that because it was a bigger plant it needed to have a lot more water, when looking back on it that really wasn't the case. I haven't gotten another money tree since then. I'm still not sure exactly what I did wrong or what I could have done better. I think it definitely could have used a little more direct sunlight, or at least brighter indirect sunlight than what I was able to get it. But it is just another one of those plants that has been a learning experience for me. Okay, the next couple of plants that I wanted to talk about are kind of grouped together, but I'm going to talk about them separately. So the first one is just succulents in general. I have had a lot of trouble with succulents in the past when I first started getting into houseplants. And it took me a while to really be able to understand their needs and what I was doing wrong in the past and what I needed to do in the future. But I have killed quite a few succulents in my time as a houseplant enthusiast. And I have definitely learned that less water is always better, which people always tell you that with succulents, but I never fully grasped it until more recently. It is also very true that they need a lot of light. They can do okay with not as much direct light, but the more direct light you can give them, the better. Succulents are obviously more desert type plants, so they hold moisture in their leaves. So what I've learned is that I've had to wait until I can start seeing signs that the leaves are dehydrated before I water it. And I can go into more detail on how I take care of my succulents in a separate video, but I have definitely had to go through a bit of a learning curve with them. And then another plant that kind of falls under the category of succulents is aloe vera. And their care is very similar to succulents, but I have always been an overwaterer when it came to aloe vera. Aloe vera are also desert plants, so they hold a lot of moisture in their leaves. And I've learned recently that they can go a lot longer without water than you would think they would. I would even go as far as to say that I water them similar to how I water my cactus. The great thing about aloe vera I've learned is that their leaves will also show you signs of dehydration. So you'll see like wrinkles on the leaves and they'll feel a little less firm. So that's something that has definitely helped me out, and I think I'm pretty confident in saying that I have gotten the care down for aloe vera. But again, I can and probably will in the future put out a video all about how I care for succulents and aloe vera and all that. Okay, the next plant is the prayer plant, also known as calatheas, also known as Marianthas. I'm not sure exactly which Mariantha or calathea is the correct botanical name, but I know that the more common name is just a prayer plant because of how their leaves fold up. I have had quite a few in the past, and they've all kind of shriveled up on me, not because of underwatering, but more because of humidity and lighting issues. I would honestly say I'm still not fully comfortable with calathea. A plant that was on my wish list for a very long time was the lemon lime Mariantha, and I just think that plant is gorgeous, but I don't think I have the climate in my house that would be required to keep that plant healthy. I'd say I would really only feel comfortable getting that plant if I had some kind of like greenhouse or sunroom or something that I was able to keep a lot of humidity in. I don't think I have the environment that it would take to at least get it to where it would stay alive. Okay, for this next plant, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the botanical name, but the common name that I've only ever heard it referred to is the peace lily. Everyone has seen this plant. They are very beautiful plants when they are well taken care of, but I have not had success with them in the past. And similar to calathea, I believe it's more of a humidity thing. Peace lily are also a tropical plant, which if you notice a common theme in this video, it's that all the plants I have had trouble with in the past have either been desert plants that require very little water or tropical plants that require a lot of water. So with the peace lily, I've only had one of them, but I kept it alive for a while, but it just slowly kept declining, and eventually it just couldn't hold on anymore. I got it with, I think, 4 or 5 leaves on it. It was a medium-sized plant, and I kept it a little farther away from the window because I knew it didn't want a lot of direct sunlight. And I tried to keep up on the watering, but I struggled to do that, and I also struggled with the humidity a lot. For those of you who don't know, I do have a humidifier now, but it's very small, and so the plants that I keep right next to it are really the ones that get the benefit from it. And it's hard to keep every plant that I have right next to the humidifier, so I kind of had to be a little picky about what plants I put next to the humidifier, and the peace lily just wasn't close enough to really be getting the benefits it needed. The last plant I wanted to talk about is the Hoya Carnosa. And if you guys watched my video my video from a few months ago when Wade and I went to Texas, I came back with a Hoya Carnosa, and it was very beautiful, and I loved it. It did not survive very long because I just was completely in the dark about what kind of care it needed. Hoya, I have a love-hate relationship with because I still don't really understand how to care for them. I know that they can be a little bit finicky. Hoya are kind of on the higher side of the spectrum as far as watering needs go. And I think I kept up with the watering for mine, but I just wasn't watering it consistently enough. And the environment just wasn't doing well for it. Certain varieties of Hoya tend to require more humidity. Some don't require as much humidity, but they do prefer to have a little more humidity. I have since that trip gotten a new Hoya Carnosa, and it's doing okay so far. I haven't lost too many leaves, and hopefully with this one I'll be able to kind of learn from it a little more than I have from my last one, and I will be able to grow it successfully. Alright guys, so that's all the plants that I wanted to talk about today. I hope that this video has helped you understand that it's okay to struggle with certain plants, and it's okay to ask for help if you need care tips for some of these plants. If you guys have any tips for the plants I have mentioned in this video, please comment them so that I can learn from them as well and be a better plant parent. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.